Dentro del Estado todo, fuera del Estado nada y nada contra el Estado. Hemos llamado a esta clase política el partido del Estado, una casta extendida cuyos miembros, más allá de diferencias superficiales, comparte la idea fundamental del avance del Estado sobre la sociedad. Son todos aquellos que por interés económico o convicción ideológica o incluso cierto idealismo ingenuo trabajan para los intereses del Estado. Los medios de comunicación tradicionales o ligas y media, la oligarquía sindical, los empresarios prebendarios, los burócratas permanentes no electos y en consecuencia intrínsecamente irresponsables, las organizaciones mal llamadas no gubernamentales que hacen el trabajo sucio de los políticos, las instituciones académicas que proveen el marco teórico para la expansión estatal, los organismos supranacionales y todos los que de alguna manera pertenecen a la gran secta del colectivismo mundial. Y por supuesto, esto incluye a los partidos políticos tradicionales, que sin importar su color, coinciden en la tesis fundamental que más Estado siempre es mejor. En Argentina, por ejemplo, teníamos un sistema político compuesto por unas 50 sombras de socialismo. En Estados Unidos existía la ilusión de bipartidismo de un partido demócrata que marcaba la agenda y un partido republicano incapaz de enfrentarlo hasta la llegada del presidente Donald Trump. ¡Viva! Curiosamente, el mío lo van a tener que esperar hasta el final. Curiosamente, el presidente Trump es un outsider, igual que yo, porque la tarea que tenemos por delante, el desafío que tenemos por delante, no es para políticos tradicionales que han vivido toda su vida del sistema. Es para gente que no le debe nada a nadie, que no está comprometida por los vicios del sistema y que sabe que es más importante el cambio que el poder por el poder mismo. En el establishment político de nuestras dos naciones existía una mentalidad más o menos explícita de que el avance del Estado equivalía a avance de la democracia, que cada conquista del Estado implicaba un acto de justicia social ante las supuestas injusticias de la libertad, que el rol del Estado era llevarnos a una utopía igualatoria mediante la creación sistemática de supuestos nuevos derechos que obviamente debían ser financiados por los pagadores de impuestos. Es justamente en el centro de este esquema que se encuentran los políticos, los principales beneficiarios de este modelo de expansión ilimitada del Estado, esos que hacen de vivir de otros por la fuerza un estilo de vida, depositarios de poderes y privilegios que serán la envidia de cualquier monarca de la historia. No importan las peleas televisivas ni las supuestas diferencias partidarias, todos trabajan para el mismo Dios, el siniestro, y su manifestación en la tierra, el leviatán del que hablaba Hobbes. Por eso, salvando algunas particularidades propias de cada nación, todos los que estamos aquí tenemos una misma misión: quitar el poder al partido del Estado y devolvérselo a la sociedad. Es decir, como decía Albert Nock, que describió en su libro En nuestro enemigo el Estado, que el poder social fue progresivamente arrebatado y trasladado al Estado por la fuerza. Nuestro objetivo es hacer el camino inverso, aumentar del poder del ciudadano y quitarle el poder al Estado. Por su... ¡Afuera! Me too. Sorry. She's my girlfriend. Again in this expression. Por supuesto, no puede hacerse gestionando mejor el Estado tal cual existe o simplemente administrando correctamente los recursos de que dispone, sino que el único camino racional es achicar el Estado hasta su mínima expresión posible. Reducir el tamaño del Estado es en sí mismo un acto de justicia, porque cada erogación del Estado es una sustracción del pagador de impuestos. Desde nuestro punto de vista, el único Estado aceptable es el Estado más chico posible para devolverle al ciudadano lo que es suyo. Por eso, todas las atribuciones que no tengan que ver directamente con la protección de los tres derechos fundamentales, que son el derecho a la vida, a la libertad y a la propiedad privada, deben volver a su origen, los individuos asociados de forma voluntaria sin intromisión del Estado. Esto debe ser así porque, a diferencia de la economía, el poder es un juego de suma cero. Todo el poder que tenga el Estado necesariamente no puede obtenerlo al mismo tiempo la sociedad. Por eso no creemos en soluciones parciales o compromisos de centro. Sabemos que hacer las cosas a medias es una invitación al regreso del Estado, que como un cáncer metastásico solo sabe expandirse y debe ser obligado activamente a retroceder. No sirve intentar alcanzar un justo medio. Todo lo que exceda su función esencial debe ser definitivamente quitado de su órbita o más temprano que tarde volverá a usurpar lo que no le pertenece. Sabemos que no es una tarea fácil. El Estado moderno tiene herramientas de sobras que han crecido en sofisticación con el paso del tiempo. No estamos hablando de un Estado obvio como el fascista o el comunista, sino de un Estado sutil e insidioso que avanza sobre el individuo a través del arte, de la propaganda y la infiltración cultural. O al menos así era hasta hace poco, ya que le resulta cada vez más difícil disimular su carácter totalitario. Hemos visto, por citar solo un ejemplo, que en ciertos países de Europa ciudadanos están siendo arrestados por expresarse en redes sociales. Pero en términos más generales, hablo de la financiación de la academia, incentivando la elaboración de estudios que justifiquen la implementación de políticas públicas intervencionistas y de la compra encubierta de medios de comunicación mediante la pauta pública. Hablo de las múltiples ONGs que viven de nuestros impuestos, de los subsidios a la cultura para producir propaganda y aquí en Estados Unidos, por supuesto, el escándalo de USAID, que destinaba millones de dólares de los pagadores de impuestos a financiar desde revistas y canales de televisión a fraudes electorales como en Brasil o gobiernos con aspiraciones discriminatorias como el de Sudáfrica. Y como decía, gobiernos con aspiraciones discriminatorias como el sudafricano, entre tantas otras aberraciones, incluyendo la agenda de la paranoia climática, los excesos de la ideología de género y la investigación que derivó la creación del virus del COVID-19. Sin embargo, lo único que realmente logra este mecanismo de bajada de línea globalista es transferir riqueza de la clase baja de un país rico a la clase alta de un país pobre. En pocas palabras, hablo de una red global de influencia y formación de opinión pagada con los impuestos de los ciudadanos, un aparato de propaganda sin precedentes en la historia humana, quizás el escándalo político más grande que hayamos visto. Y luego esos mismos hipócritas acusan a Elon Musk de interferir en las elecciones de otros países. Claramente su descaro es tan grande como sus aspiraciones totalitarias. Y si ese nivel de colectivismo en sangre hubiera tenido soluciones, sus apologistas tendrían al menos algo a lo cual aferrarse, pero ni eso. Esa fue históricamente la excusa de los estatistas del pasado, que la prosperidad llegaría mediante la administración racional de recursos por parte del Estado, recursos que el sector privado era incapaz de aprovechar. Pregunta, ¿y acaso quién maneja el sector público? ¿No son humanos? Sin embargo, hemos sido testigos de que a mayor expansión estatal, peor es la calidad de vida de la gente. No por nada Hayek dedicó su último libro a explicar este fenómeno, al cual llamó la fatal arrogancia. Pero esto no es accidental. Más allá de su evidente incompetencia, la clase política no se dedica a solucionar problemas. Al fin y al cabo, un problema solucionado es un área de la que el Estado debe retirarse. Al contrario, la clase política se dedica a perpetuar los problemas y así vivir de ellos para siempre. Por eso viven creando problemas nuevos, instalándolos desde sus aparatos de propaganda para luego ofrecer a sí mismos como solución. ¿Y en qué consiste esa solución? En la implementación de regulaciones que causan todavía más problemas a ser solucionados por más regulaciones. En medicina se usa el término iatrogenia para referirse al daño que sufre un paciente como consecuencia de la atención médica. Podría decirse entonces que el régimen estatista consiste en la iatrogenia como política de Estado, o sea, es el médico que se enriquece a base del deterioro progresivo e intencional de sus pacientes. Con el modelo del Estado presente, el Estado te quiebra las piernas para después venderte las muletas como un sobreprecio y obligarte a agradecerle, y te persigue si no lo haces. Como contrapunto, dicen algunos testimonios que en la medicina tradicional china el médico familiar cobraba honorarios de forma constante por mantener a la familia sana. O sea, según la leyenda, cuando un miembro enfermaba, el médico dejaba de percibir los honorarios, viéndose incentivado a resolver la enfermedad de una forma eficiente y rápida. Imagínense tan solo pudiera funcionar así el Estado. Cuánta miseria nos hubiéramos ahorrado. Hoy, a quienes queremos desmantelar este sistema demencial nos llaman antidemocráticos. Pero nuevamente, esta es una tergiversación de las palabras, algo muy propio de la izquierda, para variar. Ellos no le llaman democracia al gobierno del pueblo, sino al paradigma de expansión total estatal ilimitada que ellos mismos administran. Para ellos, la democracia existe y únicamente si ganan los que ellos quieren, para poder someter a la gente a sus caprichos. Pero cuando la minoría electoral son ellos, la elección de la mayoría pasa a ser autoritarismo. De hecho, muchos de los que nos acusan de antidemocráticos ni siquiera fueron electos. Toman decisiones que afectan a miles de millones de personas alrededor del mundo y, sin embargo, nadie los conoce. No son responsables ante nadie más que sí mismos y no pueden ser echados por el voto popular. Y así y todo vienen a hablarnos de democracia. En fin, dicen que Trump y yo somos un peligro para la democracia, pero en realidad están diciendo que somos un peligro para ellos. Somos un peligro para el partido del Estado, para quienes viven de su expansión ilimitada, para quienes quieren un individuo dependiente y sometido a sus caprichos regulatorios. ¿Y saben qué? Tienen razón, somos su peor pesadilla. Venimos por sus privilegios, habiendo sido elegidos por la mayoría de cada uno de nuestros pueblos, con el mandato claro de quitarles un poder que no les pertenece. Hoy nuestros países, Argentina y Estados Unidos, necesitan pasar por una segunda independencia. La primera nos liberó del poder de las monarquías europeas. La segunda nos liberará de la tiranía del partido del Estado. Por eso hemos puesto tanto esfuerzo en identificarlo, porque no se puede luchar contra lo que no se conoce. Y tener un enemigo bien definido es un aspecto fundamental de nuestra batalla cultural. Ahora ya lo conocemos, le hemos ganado en las elecciones y estamos en proceso de desarmar su leviatán, que es una herramienta de opresión perpetua. No tenemos ninguna fórmula secreta, solo conocer la historia humana y saber qué es lo que ha funcionado y qué no. Por eso, con humildad, quiero reflexionar un poco sobre cómo venimos llevando adelante esta batalla. Nosotros trabajamos con firmeza y de frente, sin dar lugar a compromisos. Defendemos un conjunto de valores que no estamos dispuestos a negociar, así como ellos no han estado dispuestos a negociar a la hora de quitarnos nuestra libertad. Lo que ellos impusieron sin nuestro consentimiento está siendo eliminado sin el consentimiento de ellos. Por eso hemos pasado la motosierra por los sectores y atribuciones del Estado que consideramos superfluos, redundantes, innecesarios o directamente perniciosos para la sociedad. Y más aún, este año emprenderemos la fase 2 de este proceso, que hemos bautizado como la motosierra profunda, para continuar achicando el Estado, devolviéndole a la gente la riqueza que jamás debió habérsele sido arrebatada. Lo interesante es que este proceso de justicia tiene un correlato político, porque por su naturaleza el partido del Estado se financió históricamente de gasto público mal asignado y de negocios turbios con el Estado. Por eso, achicar el Estado es cortarle la manguera a los clientes del Estado enquistado en él, que ejercían un feroz resistencia al cambio, valiéndose el dinero de los pagadores de impuestos para mantenernos subyugados. Nuestro método es similar al de nuestro querido amigo Elon Musk: revisar oficina por oficina, conservar lo que sirve y funciona y descartar el resto. Por eso le obsequié una motosierra. Con nosotros nadie que no pueda justificar el costo de su salario en impuestos está a salvo. Muchos de ellos tendrán que volver al sector privado y ganarse la vida ofreciendo sus bienes y servicios en el mercado, tal como los pagadores de impuestos de los que han vivido tantos años. Mi más sentido pésame a los políticos que creyeron que este momento nunca llegaría y no están preparados, porque se van a llevar un baldazo de agua fría. Por suerte para ellos, en toda desgracia hay una oportunidad y debido a nuestro avance desregulador, los salarios del sector privado seguirán subiendo, por lo que si hacen las cosas bien podrán ser parte del progreso, pero lejos de la casta estatal. Como ya he dicho, esto no es una tarea sencilla. Aquí en Estados Unidos, burócratas rebeldes han intentado sabotear el trabajo del Departamento de Eficiencia Gubernamental y están recurriendo a mecanismos burocráticos ilegales para intentar bloquear cualquier reforma, lo cual también sucede en nuestro país y es algo con lo que debemos luchar día a día. Pero nada de eso nos ha tomado por sorpresa. Somos conscientes de que van a hacer lo posible por detener este cambio, sin importar el daño resultante. Si tienen que destruir el mundo para conservar sus privilegios, lo van a hacer. Y nosotros vamos a seguir luchando. Pero hoy el problema se extiende más allá de las penurias a las cuales el modelo del Estado presente ha sometido a cada una de nuestras naciones individualmente, porque la decadencia de nuestros gobiernos durante la historia reciente a lo largo y a lo ancho de Occidente no solo empobreció material y espiritualmente a nuestros propios ciudadanos, también nos debilitó política, económica, cultural y socialmente ante el enemigo externo. Nos volvió moralmente débiles y nos hizo vulnerables ante las peores expresiones de la barbarie, los peores enemigos de la libertad. Y a ellos no se les puede dar un centímetro, porque cuando huelen sangre avanzan envalentonados y sin piedad. Esto quedó demostrado durante los cobardes ataques perpetuados el 7 de octubre de 2023 en Israel, que costaron más de 1.000 inocentes y la captura de 251 personas. Esta semana Israel recibió los cuerpos sin vida de la familia Vivas, que permanecían secuestrados por el régimen terrorista y asesino de Hamas, entre los cuales se encuentra una madre y sus 2 hijos, un niño de 4 años y un bebé de tan solo 9 meses. Es tan inescrupuloso y sanguinario este régimen que, en el último gesto canallesco, no tuvieron mejor idea que exhibir burdamente sus ataúdes ante el vitoreo de una multitud sin el más mínimo respeto. Esto es lo que está en juego y no podemos darnos el lujo de fallar. Por eso es fundamental que las naciones que hemos abrazado en las ideas de la libertad permanezcamos unidas y colaboremos unas con otras. Debemos formar una alianza de naciones libres, porque como ya he dicho en otra ocasión, el mal organizado solo puede ser vencido por el bien organizado. Solo mediante esta internacional de derecha podremos ponerle un fin a la casta política a la que nos enfrentamos, que está hundiendo a Occidente en la más oscura profundidad, y recuperar el ímpetu para proteger a las fuerzas despóticas que nos quieren subyugados. Por eso quiero también aprovechar para anunciar que Argentina quiere ser el primer país del mundo en sumarse a este acuerdo de reciprocidad que pide la administración Trump en materia comercial. De hecho, si no estuviéramos restringidos por el Mercosur, la Argentina ya estaría trabajando en un acuerdo de libre comercio con los Estados Unidos que sea mutuamente beneficioso y que no cargue injustamente sobre las espaldas de los productores argentinos, pero tampoco sobre los de los americanos. Esto es así porque solo trabajando juntos aquellos que queremos construir un mundo libre podremos salir adelante. Solo así podremos salir de la pesadilla del Estado omnipresente y así poder seguir haciendo lo que sabemos hacer como Occidente, poner a prueba los límites de lo posible, confiando en la creatividad de la sociedad y no en la discrecionalidad estéril de los burócratas. Solo así podremos retornar nuestro camino de grandeza como civilización, haciendo honor a nuestros antepasados que dieron la vida por ver un mundo libre y una humanidad próspera. Solo así, finalmente, podremos reencontrarnos con nosotros mismos y volver a crear en aquello que nos hizo grande como civilización. Que Dios bendiga a la República Argentina, que Dios bendiga a los Estados Unidos y que las fuerzas del cielo nos acompañen. ¡Viva la libertad, carajo!
Folks, good morning to you. It's Mike Church here live from the Crusade Radio Network studios. We're expecting that Stephen Miller is actually supposed to be speaking now. According to the schedule that they sent me, Javier just went about a half an hour long. So I believe it's Stephen Miller. Then after Stephen Miller, who's only supposed to speak for 10 minutes, then the so-so one is supposed to speak, and I'm not going to broadcast that. So I'll jump in and entertain you guys for 20 minutes while the so-so one and his wife speak. And then we'll be carrying CPAC live here all day on the Crusade Radio Network. You're Stephen Miller.
Who is ready in just a few short hours to hear from the man himself, our 47th president, Donald J. Trump. My friends, it has been a long road, has it not? It's been a long road. And these last 4 years, we felt every single painful minute. But nothing, my friends, is sweeter or more extraordinary than victory. Who here has enjoyed the last 30 days of America's new golden age? And who here has been filled with pride and excitement in watching President Trump install the most extraordinary cabinet and team any of us has ever seen? Our new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. And of course, we have at the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk. White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. And perhaps the most exciting of all is the fact that every single day, the entire White House staff, the entire administration, the entire cabinet, on behalf of President Trump and his extraordinary leadership, is getting the lies out of our schools, the men out of women's sports, the poison out of our foods, the woke out of our military, the predators off our streets, and the illegal aliens the hell out of our country. It's happening. It is happening every day under President Trump. He is saying hell no to DEI. He is saying hell no to CRT. He is saying hell no to the indoctrination of our children. And is saying hell yes to the idea that America belongs to Americans. A historic slate of executive orders have been issued by President Trump to reclaim control of this government, to reclaim control of our destiny, to reclaim control of our future, and to restore the idea that under a democracy, the entire federal bureaucracy works for President Trump and not the other way around. He is the elected head of our government. And to all the people in the media, all the people on the radical left, all the people in the Democratic Party screaming about democracy, Donald Trump is the one who is saving democracy. Donald Trump is the one who is saving our Constitution. Donald Trump is the one who is saving America. And any federal bureaucrat who defies the lawful orders of this president will be fired. President Trump will ensure that whether you work at the FBI, whether you work at the CIA, whether you work at the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the Department of Health and Human Services, career civil servants, also known as bureaucrats, work for the American people, and they work for the president the American people elected. They do not set their own agenda. They do not write their own rules. They do not work for themselves. They work for each and every one of you. You pay their salaries. You pay for the buildings they work in. You pay for every single thing they do. And if they are not following the laws, the Constitution, and the President of the United States, then they will find a new career. By the way, speaking of the FBI, who here is thrilled about Kash Patel? Let us not forget what President Trump endured in order to get to this point, to climb to the top of that Everest summit. Let us not forget what this whole movement has endured to reach this glorious day. 8 long years of weaponized government, the Russia hoax, the Ukraine hoax, one lie after another, one fraudulent impeachment after another, one hoax, one smear. Government weaponized at every level against democracy. Government weaponized at every level against the people. Democrat prosecutors, Democrat attorneys general, Democrat careers using their power to try to sabotage the democracy of this country, to try to keep President Trump off the ballot, to try to throw President Trump in jail, to try to arrest his aides and his supporters. An authoritarian movement in this country that has at every step tried to stop the workings of our democracy. And President Trump, on a field in Pennsylvania, nearly lost his life. And a few weeks later, another assassination plot. And let me ask you this question. When the lawsuits came against President Trump, when the lawfare came against President Trump, when the weaponized law enforcement and intelligence community came against President Trump, and when the bullets came against President Trump, did he falter? Did he back down? Did he yield? Did he surrender? Did he waver? Or did he stand up tall and strong and raise his fist into the air and say 3 immortal words, fight, fight, fight? Every day, that is what he is doing for you. He is fighting for your families. He is fighting for your children. He is fighting for your future. He is fighting for the fundamental idea that this country belongs not to the bureaucrats, not to the radical left communists, not to our foreign enemies, not to the criminal cartels, not to the criminal aliens. This country belongs to the law-abiding, patriotic, God-fearing American citizens. It belongs to the people in this room, and it belongs to the patriots watching at home today. I want you to know that every single morning President Trump wakes up and he thinks about you. And all day long, as he's signing executive orders, as he's meeting with world leaders, as he is orchestrating and directing the actions of this government, he is thinking about you and your future. President Trump's heart beats for the American people. President Trump's heart beats for the American Republic. And President Trump's heart is filled with nothing but love and loyalty for this republic. No president has done more in 30 days than President Trump has done. But we need you to stay in the fight. It is not enough to celebrate the victories we've achieved thus far. Every single day, we need, and President Trump, our president, needs you to be involved in pushing this agenda forward, promoting every single victory, every success, every agenda item, being involved at every level of politics to keep driving forward. You think they're just going to give us our country back? You think they're just going to roll over, move out of the way, stop their scheming and their lying? Or do you think we are going to have to be on top of it every single day, focused every single day, driving forward every single day with unrelenting focus and passion? Because God gave us this country. Our founding fathers fought and died for this country. Generations of Americans have sacrificed and bled for this country, and we are not going to let the radical left, the communists, and the America haters take our country. It's not going to happen. Not now, not ever. But it's going to take everyone in this room to stand with President Trump each and every day, to stand by his side every single day as President Trump boldly and bravely leads us into this golden age. And if you do that, I promise you, if you support this president and his leadership vision and his command and his inspiration, I promise you that if we follow President Trump, then this is what our future will look like. The best economy in history, the strongest border in history, the proudest and most patriotic children in history, and the single greatest future in history. And we will prove worthy of this moment. We will prove worthy of this period. We will prove worthy of this opportunity given to us by Almighty God. And I swear to you, and I promise you, and I pledge to you, it will all be worth it. And our children will grow up in a world where they can say, America is stronger, more incredible, more courageous, more united, more devoted, more committed, more incredible, more exceptional, prouder, and more amazing than it has ever been before, with the leadership and the vision and the drive of our President Donald J. Trump. So I ask you all to send a message right now to all the bureaucrats, to all the radical left commies, to the criminal aliens, the foreign gangs, the transnational terrorists, to everyone who threatens the future of this country. Do you stand with President Trump? Do you support President Trump? Do you believe in President Trump? And do you believe in the future of America? Thank you. God bless you, and God bless the United States. I love you. God bless the United States. I love you. God bless the United States. I love you.
Greetings to you and welcome to all of you watching or listening out there on the Crusade Radio Network. Wherever you may find yourself today, it's Mike Church, KingDude here, live from Studio Summit Show in Madisonville, Louisiana. We will not be presenting the so-so one. That's Mark Levin. We will not be presenting that talk from the stage. Instead, I will hang out and talk with you guys. You can chat with us at crusadechannel.com/chat. You can join the chat over on the YouTube at Real KingDude, at youtube.com at Real KingDude, or on x.com. There is a chat going on as well. And greetings to all of you on a Saturday here at the end of February here. Lots going on in the year that has been 2025. So I thought we would just kind of hang out and blouse around and talk a little bit of the news that is that's out there today. Yesterday, I don't know if you saw this. Yesterday, the United Kingdom. I actually had this on my Substack, thekingdude.substack.com. Yesterday, the UK. And I guess they thought they were going to get away with this, and that Apple wasn't going to tell the world what Kiev Keith, as my friend Frank Roy calls him, what Kiev Keith told to Apple Computer. And I had this piece on it at Substack. The UK's 2025 is 1984. So here's what happened, and the reason I'm going to bring this up is not because we want to talk about the UK. The reason I'm going to bring it up because if Kamala Harris, by some disaster, would have been elected, this would have happened here. They'd have done this to us here. The only reason it's not happening here, because it'll happen throughout the EU now. If the UK gets away with what or it looks like they're going to get away with Apple, then the rest of the EU is probably going to follow suit. Folks, if you don't have a fountain pen or a writing pen and writing paper and wax seal, you may want to invest in it. As a matter of fact, I just got a kit in the mail, and I'm very excited about writing letters again, because when you put the wax seal on a letter, you can't break the seal. It's almost impossible to get a letter open that's wax sealed without detecting the fact that the wax seal has been broken. It's convenient for one thing, but it's the world. I guess it's probably the world's oldest security measure. So you may have to go back to sending letters and sealing them with wax. Otherwise, spying eyes are going to find out or know everything that you do. Here's what the UK did yesterday. They basically told Apple to backdoor a new feature that closed the long-standing iCloud backup subpoena loophole every state on the planet has used for a decade. Apple told them to go pound sand. So UK users are now back where they were, and basically in 2020 with 2022 levels of security. So basically, they told Apple, we want a backdoor into the iPhone. We want a backdoor into. You got the story?
It says that Apple yanks the encryption.
Yeah, well, they took the encrypted storage out. If you're on iCloud, you had what's called end-to-end encrypted protection here. So what that means is when you send it to the other device, when you send it, it's encrypted on your end. It gets to the other device in an encrypted form, meaning no one else can open it. You can't open it with another machine. You'd have to break the encryption, which is why they keep expanding the amount of bits. I think they're up to like 256 bits now. So it's encrypted when you send it. It gets to the other user as encrypted. It then is on his or her device. And then what happens, a little bit of digital miracle magic happens. Then the encryption device, and it happens in real time, the encryption that's built into the iOS, basically, or built into that particular app, then deciphers or decrypts the message and then displays it to you. So even if someone intercepted the packets, as they call them, when they're traveling from point A to point B, it wouldn't matter because they can't open it. You can only open it on the device it was sent from or on the device it went to, unless it goes to another server just as text, and then it's obviously it's decrypted. The UK did more dastardly demonic stuff than J.D. Vance even thought that they were capable of, and accused them of in that speech. He didn't go far enough. So if you have someone that you know, like we know Fiorello, we know KV Turley, we know Joe Clovis, we know several other people in the UK, if they have an iPhone, this is the problem that this is going to cause. If they have an iPhone, you have an iPhone, you send them a message, it's not encrypted. If it's going to cloud services, it's no longer encrypted. Apple just went, we're not going to give you a backdoor. We're just going to drop the encryption program. This is an absolute privacy. This is a hacker's paradise. We need the song. What was the song? Gangster's Paradise? We need gangsters. Hacker's Paradise. It's going to be a hacker's paradise. Why did they do it? Because Kiev Keith is turning the UK into something that's even more sinister and diabolical than Nazi Germany. Basically, the cops are now out in force looking for people that look like they might be preying on the street. You have entire police forces that are now sitting at desks. They're not out stopping murders or rapes of children or anything of that sort in the UK. They're now sitting at desks, and they're going through social media posts. They're looking for people to go arrest for what they think. And they're taking them to court, and the judges are sentencing these people to jail time. They're convicting them as felons. They're turning the UK into a demonic fortress for Muslim pederasts is what they're doing. You know, we reported on this story years ago, but it's gotten even worse than that. And I didn't even know about the Manchester, about what was going on with the Manchester police and how this gang of Muslim men had been treating all these children, had been raping all these girls. And even though the families are reporting it, they're not, and the cops are doing nothing about it. Instead, they've been covering up. I don't know what's going to happen to the UK. I saw that my friend Father Calvin Robinson had his passport revoked or his visa revoked. So he's one of the guys that we're talking about. So if he has to go back to England, as soon as he gets there, as soon as he lands, they're going to go after him. Father Calvin Robinson is probably going to get charged with some sort of ridiculous a charge against a violation of someone. He offended someone through his prayers or through a sermon he gave or something to that effect. This is going to have snowball effect throughout the old continent that is Europe. Because if the UK gets away with it, they have the exact same people in the EU who are going to want to try it. And Apple Computer is now just going to be put into position that all of us that have iPhones, you're contacting anyone where this goes into effect. Big trouble, folks. So I'm trying to find someone. Maybe Junk Bond could help explain this on Air Monday more than I can. I did have a guy who used to work for Apple who follows me on Twitter who sent me a bunch of stuff, and he goes, it's worse than you're making it out to be. So full report's coming on Monday. We'll talk about that. Let's talk about where we are here in 2025. The Democrat Party is now trying to pretend that all of America wants Trump gone. He hasn't even been there a month. He's 1 month and 2 days, and now it's Shampeachment 3.0, except they don't have the power to actually do it. There was an event that was in Omaha, Nebraska last night. It's called Fight the Oligarchy. Fight the oligarchy. It's me, Bernie Sanders. Fight the oligarchy. They're not this our democracy. They're not taking the post office. Can you know, this is so, to me, this is comical. It used to be an old comedy sketch bit that Ronald Reagan would do at some of his speeches. And he would say, you know, we're here to shrink the size and the scope of the federal government, is what he would say. And then Reagan would tell a story of some sort. And the punchline of the story is, well, that's like someone showing up at your doorstep and knocking on the door and you answering and they say, hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And you going, thank God, which never happened. This is the hill the Democrat Party is going to die on. We are the government, and we're here to help. We are going to defend our precious democracy and its bureaucrats to the end of the earth. So the first thing that they claim, it's all over the usual suspect medias out there today. The power to fight Trump begins. There is a groundswell of opposition. It is a country filled with rage. A country filled with rage because taxes are going to go down. The price of food and energy and such are going to go down. Employment is going to go up. The threat of being spied upon, if you're, for example, a traditional, radical traditional Catholic, is going to evaporate. The people that you know in conservative politics and policies are not going to be dragged and keel-hauled into federal courts. Your state is going to be able to stop boys from playing in your daughter's sports, and people are supposed to be revolting against that? As usually is the case, folks, the Democrat Party and the radical leftards and their demonic clients don't mix well with reality. The reality is that the exact opposite is happening. The reality is that people that had dialed out and had checked out of all politics, you know what happens to me on social media almost every day now? Maggie can vouch for this. Someone from the past has decided that they quit listening to all talk radio. They're not involved in anything anymore. They don't read about anything about conservatism or libertarianism, whatever, because they gave up. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant what I do. Doesn't matter if I vote. Doesn't matter even if I vote hope and cope. It doesn't matter, so I just quit. Almost every day now, I meet someone on X.com or on YouTube or on Facebook and who says something to the effect of, I stopped listening 5-6 years ago. I just quit. Couldn't take it anymore. And I decided that with what I'm hearing that I was going to start paying attention again. And KingDude, I found you on X. I picked up like 150 followers just since Trump was inaugurated. Just some people going like, I came back to X. I didn't even know you had radio. I didn't even know they were doing conservative talk radio shows anymore. So the exact opposite is what is happening. I watched Howard Lutkin get sworn in yesterday, and this is what I think is probably this is stereotypical of what's happening. If you don't know the story of Howard Lutkin, how many of you were around on 9/11? That's all of you. Raise your hands out there. You probably remember where you were, right? Maggie, you probably remember where you were when you heard that they had a plane had flown into the World Trade Center. Okay, so I remember where I was. So we all know the history of 9/11. Did you know that on the 104th, 104th through the 109th floors, Howard Lutkin had a company. It was a mutual fund company. It was called Cantor Fitzgerald. Cantor Fitzgerald was at the top of World Trade Center. I think it was Tower 2. Was at the top of Tower 2. Had 5 floors and had over 150 employees. But if you rolled in Cantor Fitzgerald and a couple of the other smaller companies that were kind of sharing office space with them on those 5 floors, there were over 650 people that were at Cantor Fitzgerald that day on 9/11. The only reason Howard wasn't there is because his son was supposed to go here and decided that, you know what, Dad, I'm going to go here, and I don't want Mom to bring me. I want you to bring me, because I can't remember the story. Trump told it yesterday. So Howard Lutkin was supposed to be in World Trade Center 2 on September the 11th, 2001, and instead was bringing his little boy to some event. Of course, he hears the news, and everyone that's in his life, his entire company is based in World Trade Center 2. 155 Cantor Fitzgerald employees are killed that day, including Howard's brother. And he and his brother had started, were the founders of the firm, Cantor Fitzgerald. So wiped out the entirety, all their records. They lost everything. But Howard Lutkin didn't quit. Howard Lutkin instead, after burying the bodies and going through all of the eulogies and speaking to all the families, Howard Lutkin, I just think this is just a great story. Howard Lutkin decided that he was going to rebuild Cantor Fitzgerald. And so he started from where he had started before. And he started to rebuild Cantor Fitzgerald. Do you know what he committed to doing? This just, to me, is what makes you proud to say that you are a fellow citizen with someone like this. Howard Lutkin committed to the survivors of 150 employees, including his brother's wife and children, that as he was going to rebuild Cantor Fitzgerald, he started funds. He started a fund for every one of the people that died on 9/11. And he would take a portion of the profits that Cantor Fitzgerald would make, and he put it into the fund, and then he started funding schooling, education, medical care, et cetera, for all of those employees. Cantor Fitzgerald, as of last year, was actually a larger company than it was on 9/11. And this is another one of these stories in these cases here where an American citizen refusing, again, as I have been saying, we can't bring manufacturing back. It'll take a decade. It'll take 2 decades. No, it won't. No, it won't. If you want to do it, if you will it is no dream, dude. Howard Lutkin rebuilt Cantor Fitzgerald. It's bigger than it was before. And he was a supporter, he was a Democrat in 2016, so he wasn't a Trumpster the first time around. He saw what they did to his old friend. He knew President Trump. And Howard Lutkin joined the MAGA movement. And, of course, you saw him at campaign rallies, at Trump campaign events. He was a contributor, I think, at some level to the Trump campaign. And President Trump asked him back in August or so, if we win this thing, will you join the team? And then Lutkin, of course, said yes. He was sworn in yesterday as Commerce Secretary. That's a comeback story. That's a Trump story. That's an American story. What Bernie Sanders is doing is saying that doesn't matter. It's not happening. And even if it is, the Howard Lutkins of the world are evil, conniving, stealing, thieving bastards. And they just want to take from the American people, from the little guy out there, they just want to take your Social Security, your Medicare, whatever other money, your ID, your privacy data and all that. Does it sound like a guy like Howard Lutkin wants anything other than maybe a little civic pride from any of the American people? Does it sound like a Howard Lutkin wants to do anything other than serve at the side of his friend, Donald Trump, and serve the American people to try to fix this train wreck, this disaster, this cataclysm of this monstrosity, as I have been telling you for 20 years, that it's perched on the banks of the Potomac River, Mordor on the banks of the Potomac River. Why would you leave a life like Howard Lutkin has to be called names and mocked by a socialist commie pig like Bernie Sanders at an event in Omaha, Nebraska last night? Now, Howard Lutkin is a patriot. And Howard Lutkin is doing it because he loves his country and because he thinks that he can help. I think that that's where we are. And I think a lot of American people out there think the same way and are doing the same thing. Is this you, fellow citizen, fellow little r Republican? If it is, I'd love to hear from you. And that is my way to not let Mark Levin on the Crusade Radio Network airwaves. And now we'll go back live to CPAC. I'm the KingDude, Mike Church. Write me, KingDude at MikeChurch.com. I'm here all day. And I'm here all week on the Crusade Radio Network. Back to CPAC.
The unlawful shooting death of Ashley Babbitt. This major new lawsuit that Judicial Watch filed, a $30 million wrongful death lawsuit against the United States government. She was unarmed. There were no weapons visible. She was shot in the shoulder and killed by Lieutenant Byrd. He popped out and shot her dead. Ashley was shot in cold blood, and the rule of law requires justice for her.
Every institution today is under attack. The home, The church, the government, and many people are asking, what is the truth? Jesus Christ claimed the ultimate truth. Are you willing to face the truth?
Do you think the MKUltra project ever actually ended?
The Central Intelligence Agency is actively involved in mind manipulation.
We all answer to one God and one Savior, and He's there to change your life for the better.
All right, America is back on track 2025, but next year, CPAC 2026 is going to be even bigger. Go get your tickets now. Go to cpac.org and join the movement.
As I think it was President Reagan said, we're from the government. We're here to help.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
We're from the government. We're here to help.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
President Trump is back in the White House.
Donald Trump won the presidency.
Trump is back in the White House.
Is back in the White House. Donald Trump has taken back America.
I actually started quite a while ago in CPAC, and I enjoyed it so much that I came back for a second one, then a third, then I said, what the hell, let's run for president. Matt said, it's like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. He says, you should run for politics. He's the one, he said, you should run for the presidency of the United States.
It is my honor to introduce to CPAC 2017 our president, Donald Trump.
First of all, I want to thank Matt Schlapp and his very, very incredible wife and boss, Mercedes, who have been fantastic friends and supporters, and so great when I watch them on television defending me. Nobody has a chance. I love this place. Love you people. You never stop fighting for America, and I will never, ever stop fighting for you. We know that there are still more records to be shattered, new summits to be scaled, more triumphs to be realized, and more amazing history just waiting to be written. The American adventure has only just begun. God bless America, and we will see you next year. Thank you very much. You never stop fighting for America, and I will never, ever stop fighting for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome host of the PBD podcast, Patrick Bet-David.
All right. How you doing? How you feeling? Good? Okay. I got the lunchtime slot, which means some of you are either eating or wanting to go eat, but I do have a message for you. How you doing? Yes, it's great to be with you. How many of you here watch or listen to the PBD podcast? I'm curious. Okay, it's a good amount. All right, so I got a simple message for you with the limited time that I have here for you. First of all, it's an honor to be here at CPAC. This is my first time being here. Just had a chance to speak with Matt and Mercedes, incredible people. It's incredible to be around you, especially the fact that the person you wanted to win won in 2024, which is a very big deal. I got a question for you. Can you think about the 2 things tyrants fear? Let me ask the question one more time. What would you say are the 2 things tyrants running a country fear? What are the 2 things? First thing they fear is you and I having guns to protect ourselves. The second thing they fear is you and I having a megaphone to express ourselves. Now, I want you to think about this. In the last 3 weeks, I've interviewed 2 different people. One of the ones I had on the podcast 3 weeks ago, he flew in the entire time he was nervous. He was a former founder of the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. He started the IRGC with Khomeini in 1979. 3 months after I was born, I was living in Iran, and I brought him on the podcast. For many years, we've been wanting to have this man to come on the podcast, but obviously he doesn't want to come because directly and indirectly, millions of people died because of this man. If you go on Google, you type in founder of IRGC, you'll see his name and Khomeini's name. I bring him on. It's a little uncomfortable. I say, so let me ask you a question. When you guys took over the revolution, the Shah is gone. That's the last time the Middle East was at peace. No issues. Iran gets along with Israel. No wars. Things are good. Then you come over. You take over Iran. Khomeini flies in. You fly in. What is the first thing you guys did? He says, our #1 mission was to get all the guns out of people's hands. And I said, tell me why. He says, because we wanted to be safe. I said, safe from what? Well, we had to be careful because there was a lot of criminals who had a lot of guns. I said, citizens having guns are criminals. They're trying to protect themselves. So again, what do tyrants fear? First thing is what? Your guns, because you can protect yourself. 2 days ago, I got back from Brazil. We're flying out to Brazil to do a 3-hour interview with former President Jair Bolsonaro. How many of you guys love President Bolsonaro? So we're in Brazil. While we're about to go, they are briefing us on what to be prepared for before we go to Brazil. They say, #1, have an international lawyer ready in case something happens. #2, make sure you have an armored truck. #3, come with a good delegation. We went with 9 of us. And then we'll be escorting you all over the place. So we go and we experience everything. And then eventually the president comes. And the president sits there and we start conducting the interview. One of the most emotional interviews I've ever done. This man is crying, tears dropping on the table. I can't wait for the interview to come out this Wednesday. And I hear him speaking. About 15 minutes left for the interview to be done. Somebody comes in and is whispering in his ear, whispering in his ear. Boom. He swipes the hand. Interview ends. Doing all the stuff that he's doing. He gets out. 1 hour later, alert on the phone. Jair Bolsonaro has been charged and is facing 38 years in prison. For what? There's a judge there in Brazil. His name is Alexandre de Moraes. Anybody knows who he is? Okay. If there is a picture for someone that looks like a tyrant, it is Alexandre de Moraes. This man is a tyrant at the highest level. And he is the second man, the second point that tyrants fear is freedom of speech. I'm talking to the former president. He's not comfortable talking about certain things, but he let everything loose. He knows you can't talk. They don't want you to talk over there. So you got guns, freedom of speech, and in the world, we have 195 countries, of which 193 have constitutions. Of the 193 that have constitutions, only one country gives you full-on freedom of speech with nothing about hate speech and Second Amendment. We're the only ones here that we have in America. Now, keep this in mind. Sometimes when we sit there, we hear about, next year's going to be United States birthday for 250 years. It's going to be amazing. We are one of the youngest countries in the world. It's awesome. Well, think about the oldest countries in the world. Iran, roughly 3300 BC. Egypt, 3100 BC. You got Assyria, you got Armenia, you got China, you got all these countries, right? Oldest. We are one of the youngest. But watch this here. Does anybody know what country has the oldest constitution in the world? What country has the oldest constitution in the world, including UK? We, the people, have the oldest constitution in the world. So now watch this. Some of you are clapping. You're like, I don't know what point he's trying to make here. I don't know where you're going with this. Let me give you some numbers here. Dominican Republic has changed their constitution 32 times. Venezuela 26 times. Haiti 24. Ecuador 20. Brazil's changed it 7 times in the last 100 years. While I'm there in Brazil, we're going to the airport. Our flight's at 4:30. We get there at 2 o'clock waiting. Our flight gets canceled. We have to redirect our flight. We go to Peru, and then from Peru we fly out to Miami. And I'll never forget when we landed in Miami. It reminded me of back in July 15th of '89 when we're escaping Iran on a Lufthansa flight. And while we're going, everybody's waiting for the one magical word from the flight attendant. Anybody knows what it is? It's very simple. You can officially order alcohol. We've crossed the border. And we're like, we're free. This is amazing. We are officially out of Iran, right? So we land in Miami. I'm like, oh my God, this kind of takes me back to that moment when we left, you know, Iran and experiencing what freedom's like. Then we get down here, and I'm sitting and I'm talking to all these different senators and congressmen in Brazil, and here's a number I noticed. I want to kind of take it back because it's very important for us to be thinking about. In Brazil, they have 11 Supreme Court justices, of which only 2 are conservative. In Brazil, they have 81 senators, of which only 22 are conservatives. In Brazil, they have 513 congressmen and women, of which only 130 are conservatives. Let me just kind of take back a little bit and talk to you guys about maybe possibly the greatest accomplishment any president's ever done. If the Supreme Court justice was the other way around, 6-3, and when they said Colorado wants to remove the president off the ballot, and they would have succeeded, Kamala Harris would have been your president today. I understand, I'm with you, but I want you to think about why this is so important. For 25 years of my life, I was an atheist. When you live in Iran, my mother's Armenian, her last name's Bogosian, my dad's Assyrian, Bet David. I'm living in Iran, we're a Christian family, trying to make it work. We're going to school, you're going to church, kind of keep it quiet. And you dream about one day coming here. You're like, oh my God, I can't wait to one day come to America. It's going to be such a great deal to come to America. I'm sitting there kind of thinking to myself about all this stuff with Iran. And hey, the Congress, the Senate, all this stuff. You bring it to today. This man flips 3 Supreme Court justices. He doesn't do that. Kamala gets in. They would have done everything in their power they could have to prevent the president from speaking. They tried to silence him. They took him all the social media sites. There's a lot of people that want to be friends with him today. Same people that silenced him. They said he can't use social media. Got off. Then you go from there, you dream about coming to America, and you sit there, you think about it, you say, oh my God, I cannot even believe the fact that I'm living in a country like this where you and I, as an atheist, you're like, maybe God this, I don't know about this, people are dying in Iran, I'm in a refugee camp in Germany for a year and a half, you come to the States, I'm a regular guy going to school, then all of a sudden I join the Army, I go to the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, I'm in the Army, I'm in my uniform, quite honestly, I joined at first for GI Bill, and I'm standing there waiting. We're at a Labor Day, a Memorial Day, and I see one of my chief warrant officers on this side in tears. I see another colonel over here in tears. I see a sergeant first class on this side in tears. I'm like, why are these guys crying? Why are they crying? And then we go into the auditorium. They say, there's a movie coming out about your unit. You guys are going to get a chance to watch it before the world sees it. What's the movie? Saving Private Ryan. I watched this movie at the end. I'm like, I am so proud to be an American. I am so proud to be part of the 101st Airborne Division. I am so proud to be living here. So I watched. While I'm in the Army, because of my PT score, I was able to go hang out at this one camp for 2 days where we could play pool, jump in a lake, and all this stuff. This man hands me a Bible. I'm like, sir, I'm the wrong guy to give you a Bible. He says, my parents gifted me this Bible December 24th of 1974. I think you need it more than I do. I said, I'm telling you, it's not, you don't want to give it to me. I'm the wrong guy. He gives it to me. I start praying 3 times a day. Long story short, 25 years old, life changes, God's in my life. Everything from there has been revolutionary. It doesn't even make sense to me. It's a miracle. Here's what it made me think about. How many of you remember the last time you had one of those nights where you pray for an hour and you're on your knees and nobody sees you? Who knows what I'm talking about? Anybody's ever done that before? By the way, for some of you that are devout Christians, maybe it's a normal Tuesday for you, but for those of you guys that just kind of go to church once in a while, you've only done that 3 or 4 or 5 times in your life. Does anybody relate where you don't do that often? What were you praying about in June of 2024? What were you praying about when you're sitting there? What were we thinking about? What was going on? What were the issues? Everything we're watching, what's going to be taking place? And then you mean to tell me the president is a one look away from this being assassinated, and he lives, and all these miracles happen. President Obama in 8 years flips 1 seat. Trump flips 3 seats in 1 term. You don't think God's hands on America again? By the way, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is sometimes when we start winning and we start making money and we start driving the nice cars and our candidate wins and we're like, yay, it's great and it's awesome, our paranoia goes away. Let me just prepare you for something. We got to stay paranoid. We got to stay optimistic. They're plotting their moves behind closed doors while you and I are here at this event. We got to keep recruiting the next Bobby Kennedys, the next Tulsi Gabbers, the next Elon Musk, the next Joe Rogans, the next anybody. We got to recruit them over with common sense, with values, with the way we treat them. And if we do that, the future of America will look bright like never before. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome U.S. Secretary of the Interior, Doug BURGHAM.
Good afternoon, CPAC. So great to be with you. We are gathered here today at a historic time, and in a few hours you're going to have an opportunity to hear from a very historic president. Here's a name you probably haven't heard of, Buddy Melgus, Olympic gold medal sailor from Zenda, Wisconsin, grew up on a small, teeny little lake in Wisconsin. How did a kid from a small little lake in Wisconsin go on to become an Olympic sailor? He became an Olympic gold medal sailor because he understood you never have to recover from a great start. So I've got a few questions for you. In our entire U.S. history, which president has been off to the greatest start in history? Yes, okay, I can ask that a different way. Which president in American history has had the most impact in their first 33 days? Trump. And, of course, we know the answer to this one. Which president right now, every hour, every day, is making America great again? There you go. I want to say thank you all for being here. This is such an important group. You are the difference makers. CPAC was the group that believed in President Trump when others didn't. You stayed with him. You worked so hard for all these years. And you were working because you supported President Trump, but you were working because you cared deeply about America. You wanted America to be better. You knew that America could reach its full potential. And now that is happening every single day, and it started here with you. Thank you, CPAC, for everything that you've done. Yes, President Trump has got a very clear and a very powerful vision on ways to make America great again, and at the center of that is energy dominance. He knows that energy dominance, when the U.S. is energy dominance, it's going to bring down inflation because energy is a component of every single product that we buy, every piece of food you eat, every vehicle you drive. He also knows that when we have energy to sell to our friends and allies, it's going to end our trade deficits. He knows it's going to create great American jobs. And he also knows that when we have energy to sell to our allies, it's going to end the wars abroad. And he is someone who wants to stop the killing. He wants to end wars. And President Trump, I believe, for that work, is going to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And this is a group that can help that happen for him. Yes, President Trump knows better than anyone that energy dominance is the foundation for American prosperity, for affordability and world peace. The Biden administration, wow, what a mess that we've inherited. The Biden administration, at the core of everything they're doing, we're beholden to a group of climate extremists. And when those climate extremists got the Biden administration to declare war on U.S. energy, and when they declared war on U.S. energy, it didn't reduce demand. It just shifted the supply to our adversaries across the world, to places like Iran. Iran, who sold hundreds of billions of dollars of energy through ghost ships and front companies to fund 24 terror groups against us. But President Trump wants that to stop. And he's got full maximum pressure against Iran. and he'll do what he did in his first term, which is financially he'll bring that country, or the Ayatollahs, not the country, but the Ayatollahs to their knees. But back home, the climate extremists that wanted it to shut down U.S. energy, what did they do to Americans? They raised the price of everything. Electricity prices 30% higher under the Biden administration. Some of you, if you live in the Northeast, you're going to be staring at 15 to 17 to 20% increases again this summer. This is all what we've inherited. And when we have high energy costs, that hurts our economy and we deindustrialize. And that's why President Trump on day one declared a national energy emergency. It wasn't just about price at the pump. He understood the mess that Biden left us, and that's why he declared that energy emergency. And part of that solution, last Friday, he created the National Energy Dominance Council. He asked me to chair it. He asked Chris Wright to be the vice chair. And with that, with the work that we're going to be doing, it covers everything. It covers electricity, it covers oil and gas, it covers biofuels, it covers export, it covers exploration, all the things that we need to do to have our country become an energy powerhouse. But let's just talk a little bit about one of the things that were left, and that's the energy emergency, and that is our electrical grid in this country is absolutely in danger. The climate extremists worshiped an ideology that defied physics, economics, and common sense. They believed that that was the existential threat. I will tell you that there's two existential threats that this administration believes in. One was existential threat was Iran getting a nuclear weapon. That would change the world, and this administration, working with our allies, is going to make sure that doesn't happen. And the second thing is, the second existential threat is losing the artificial intelligence arms race to China. This country has shut down more electricity than China has opened in the last 12 months. And we need electricity because electricity drives AI data centers, and AI data centers manufacture intelligence. And when we manufacture intelligence, it's going to change every job, every company, every industry. It's going to make the federal government more productive. But no, what did the Biden administration do? They focused on highly subsidized, unreliable, unaffordable, and weather-dependent sources of energy. We all know, you don't have to have a PhD to know that the sun doesn't shine 24 hours a day and the wind doesn't blow 365 days a year. And yet the Biden administration was trying to convince Americans that we could run a full-time society on part-time, intermittent, and expensive power. They pushed a Green New Deal that was a lot more like a Green New Steel because it was stealing your taxpayer dollars at the same time, raising the price of electricity for all of you, raising the price of food in this country, and jeopardizing our grid. We have today, for the first time, I was in tech for 30 years before I ever ran for office. We never used more than 1% of the nation's electricity in the whole technology sector. But now with AI coming, the demand is increasing, and that's real demand with real value, not artificial demand where we say we're going to stop driving internal combustion vehicles in favor of an EV. We're going to subsidize those EVs at 15 times anything we've ever done before, and then we're going to buy our batteries from China, who control 85% of the rare earth minerals. The whole plan was crazy. But what do we have right now under President Trump? President Trump knows that we weren't in some kind of mythical energy transition. He knows that we've got to have energy addition. He also knows, because if anybody has studied Energy 101, you'd know that any quote, transition would fail because only one time in all of human history, have humans ever transitioned off a source of energy. It was in the 1880s. Anybody know what that was in the 1800s when we transitioned off energy? Whale oil. I heard somebody knew the answer. Yes, we transitioned off of whale oil. Whale oil became very popular because it was cleaner, but then along comes oil. And oil we could refine into kerosene, and kerosene was better than whale oil. And so who knew, but you're hearing it here at CPAC, that it was over 150 years ago, fossil fuels saved the whales. And I think we've got some T-shirt merch experts here in this room, and I just think that could make a great slogan on a T-shirt, by the way. But President Trump's got a plan for energy dominance that's going to help drive us forward. All of you know that we've got $36.5 trillion of debt because we hear it over and over again. But has anybody ever come on this stage and told you how much America's assets are? No, because nobody knows what they are. And the Biden administration is playing hide the ball. But in the Trump administration, we're going to build that balance sheet. And we have trillions and trillions of dollars worth of natural resources. And we're going to make sure that we understand that our assets far exceed the debt that we have. But before Joe Biden left office, one of the things that he did was he took 625 million acres of offshore potential, trillions of dollars of revenue potential for you, your kids, and your grandkids, and with a stroke of a pen said, we're never going to develop that. Never. It's off the table. I got it. You can boo for that if you want to, but that's literally 1/3 of the lower 48 here. He was trying to rob us of that. But he's robbing us of those revenues and also of the American dream. But President Trump got into office, and with an executive order, he reversed that ban. That 625 million acres is back on our balance sheet, including some of those acres are where? They're in the Gulf of America. One of the other falsehoods is that somehow that those climate extremists cared more about the environment than any of us in this room. And I know how deeply this group cares, and I know the people in my home state, the farmers and ranchers, 4th and 5th generation, they live on the land, they care about the soil health, they care about the water, they care about the air, and that's why in North Dakota we had some of the cleanest air and water in the country, and we were an energy powerhouse. We can do both of these things in our country. Because when you shut down U.S. energy and you push that supply overseas, you push it to places that use child labor, that don't do reclamation. They don't have any kind of regulatory environment like we have. And so it's cleaner. If you care about the environment, you want every drop of energy, every electron to be produced in the United States. That's the way to save the planet. And the Biden administration, they sanctioned Alaska 68 times with executive orders. 68 times Joe Biden issued orders that tried to shut down energy development in Alaska. They sanctioned Alaska more than they did Iran, if you can believe it. But those days are over. One of the other executive orders that President Trump signed is one not just unleashing American energy, but unleashing Alaska's potential. And when we do that, we have an opportunity to sell energy to Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, our allies in the Pacific, who we need more than ever because of the growing threat of China. So let me ask you, as we close out here today, when we talk about being energy dominant, we know that one thing that President likes to say, and I'm sure you'll hear it to say, which he wants us to drill, baby, drill, and we're going to do that. But the U.S. Geologic Survey, which is part of Interior, we've got a job to actually go out and map those resources to find out how many trillions or hundreds of trillions of dollars of assets belong to all of you, the public. So we're going to map, baby, map, and then we're also going to mine, baby, mine. We're going to mine, baby, mine, because we've got to get critical minerals developed back in our country. We can't be dependent. We're buying uranium from Russia for our nuclear plants. We have to be able to have those supply chains be right here. So we're going to do all of that. And when we do all of that, we're going to be able to build, baby, build. President Trump is the greatest economic developer that's ever existed. Nobody sells America better than he does. Chris Wright, my partner in this from the Department of Energy, he and I were asked by President Trump to join him when he was meeting with the Prime Minister of India and the Prime Minister of Japan. In those meetings, President Trump said to those leaders, you've got a deficit, a trade deficit with our country. We think you should solve that. What would you like to buy from us? Perhaps some energy? 30 years ago, he wrote the international bestseller, The Art of the Deal, President Trump did. I've seen him in action. Right now, every day, he's writing the sequel to that of The Art of the Deal in real time. Yes, he is, but he's dealing with the world leaders. They're coming to him, and they want to buy American, and we want to build American. And we know that President Trump is not only making America strong again, he's going to make America affordable again. He's helping with your help. He's fighting for the agenda, and you know what he's going to do? He's going to make America great again. Thank you, CPAC.
I switched.
I switched.
I switched.
I made the switch to Newsmax.
We start this morning in Washington, where all eyes are on the White House. I switched to Newsmax.
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 Have you made the switch?
You bet I did.
My whole family switched.
Everyone is making the switch. I did.
I did.
I switched, and it made all the difference.
It made all the difference.
Have you made the switch? You should. Millions are switching to Newsmax. You should too.
America is under attack. Our families are being crushed under the politics of a radical agenda. But moms have had enough. We are standing up and we are fighting back.
This is our battle. This battle is every bit as important as the Revolutionary War because we fight for the same thing.
Moms for America is a national movement of moms reclaiming our culture for truth, family, freedom, and the Constitution.
I think Moms for America is exactly on track and is doing the right thing for the future of our country and our children.
Like, Moms for America is going at the heart of the issue.
I want to go on the record and say I'm for moms, I'm for America, and I'm especially for Moms for America.
But I am honored to join Moms for America today as we speak out against the horrific mandates.
With a national network of over 500,000 mothers, Moms for America is one of the fastest growing movements of women in the country.
The most dangerous place in all of nature is between a mama bear and her baby cub.
We are the change. No matter what, no matter where, and no matter how difficult the obstacles are that are facing us and our families, we will not give up and we will not give in.
So if not now, then when? If not you, then who?
Welcome to the Mom-Led Revolution.
Freedom, sovereignty, prosperity. The Patriots for Europe Foundation is on a mission to make Europe great again. Globalist elites have led Europe into a dead-end street. Violent crime has surged because of mass immigration. The Green Deal has put the future of the European economy at risk. Fake NGOs and the massive bureaucracy in Brussels are interfering in our democracies. Patriots must take action. We bring analysis. We organize debates. We build the network of patriots to challenge the woke narrative head on. Patriots for Europe Foundation.
America is under attack. Our families are being crushed under the politics of a radical agenda. But moms have had enough. We are standing up and we are fighting back.
This is our battle. This battle is every bit as important as the Revolutionary War because we fight for the same thing.
Moms for America is a national movement of moms reclaiming our culture for truth, family, freedom, and the Constitution.
I think Moms for America is exactly on track and is doing the right thing for the future of our country and our children.
Like, Moms for America is going at the heart of the issue.
I want to go on the record and say I'm for moms, I'm for America, and I'm especially for Moms for America.
But I am honored to join Moms for America today as we speak out against the horrific mandates.
With a national network of over 500,000 mothers, Moms for America is one of the fastest growing movements of women in the country.
The most dangerous place in all of nature is between a mama bear and her baby cub.
We are the change. No matter what, no matter where, and no matter how difficult the obstacles are that are facing us and our families, we will not give up and we will not give in.
So if not now, then when? If not you, then who?
Welcome to the Mom-Led Revolution.
Every institution today is under attack. The home, the church, the government, And many people are asking, what is the truth? Jesus Christ claimed to be ultimate truth. Are you willing to face the truth?
Do you think the MKUltra project ever actually ended?
The Central Intelligence Agency is actively involved in mind manipulation.
We all answer to one God and one Savior, and He's there to change your life for the better.
Freedom, sovereignty, prosperity. The Patriots for Europe Foundation is on a mission to make Europe great again. Globalist elites have led Europe into a dead-end street. Violent crime has surged because of mass immigration. The Green Deal has put the future of the European economy at risk. Fake NGOs and the massive bureaucracy in Brussels are interfering in our democracies. Patriots must take action. We bring analysis. We organize debates. We build the network of patriots to challenge the woke narrative head-on. Patriots for Europe Foundation.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Maha Unchained. Please welcome physician Dr. Robert Malone and Epoch Times senior editor Yanya Kellogg.
Wow, Dr. Robert Malone, you know, one of the most... Yeah, everybody, bring it up for Dr. Robert Malone. Probably one of the best-known contrarian voices during the COVID pandemic, arguing for rational policy during the pandemic. But I know him best as a rancher of horses and emus.
And welcome my friend Yanya Kellogg. You may remember that I spoke about Jan's leadership and the Epoch Times at CPAC 3 years ago. And I think without CPAC, without Epoch Times, we might not be where we are right now. It's been my pleasure to build a friendship with Jan and to participate in his fantastic series, American Thought Leaders, and our little fun series of clips that we called Fallout.
That's right.
So I'm wearing a bow tie today, not my usual attire, in honor of Dr. Peter Hotez. You'll recall that Peter Hotez last December darkly muttered about the fact that as soon as President Trump was in office, there was going to be a series of virus outbreaks, of threatening viral events that were going to cause him a lot of grief, and to focus on responding to those. But instead what we have is two amazing things that happened on the same day.
Well, so who here noticed that the new HHS secretary is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? Two things happened that day. First, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was sworn in, and second, there was an executive order signed by President Trump that established a commission to look at child chronic disease. A 1-2 punch that, in our view, is kind of revolutionizing the future of health. Robert.
I agree. So what is this thing, MAHA? Make America Healthy Again. What does that really mean? Those of us that have kind of been in the sausage-making process have a pretty good sense, but let's go to what President Trump has defined as MAHA in this amazing executive order. And what he's laid out, the mission he's laid out for my friend, your friend too, Bobby Kennedy, this amazing new Secretary of HHS that, I mean, can you believe this? He's both a bodybuilder and a biohacker. That's what we have as our secretary. And so what is MAHA? A key factor in this is a refocusing of the entire government health enterprise from a focus on disease treatment to a focus on health promotion. And I really recommend that all of you take a moment to read President Trump's executive order creating the MAHA Commission, which is across government. It even includes Treasury. It's an amazing document in which he talks about the crisis of health in America, the crisis of chronic disease in America, but in particular, it zeroes in on Bobby Kennedy's sweet spot, protecting the health of children in America. It talks about child's health. It talks about the epidemic we have now of all kinds of chronic diseases, including autism in our children, and it talks about the over-medication with Ritalin and all these other drugs. We're basically drugging our children into obedience and oblivion using these agents, getting them to be complacent in the schools so they don't cause trouble, making it easier to control them. That has got to stop. And that is the mission of the Make America Healthy Again movement, is to, within 12 to 18 months, this is the president's mandate, within 12 to 18 months, Bobby Kennedy has got to show measurable improvements in public health for American citizens. Now that is a tall order. And to do that, he's got to let loose, frankly, he's got to let loose the dogs of war. He's got to let loose the whole federal bureaucracy, transform it, and take this new leadership team that he's created under Donald Trump's direction and completely radically transform CDC, FDA, NIH, work with his partners at USDA to enable the health of Americans, and particularly the health of Americans' children.
So, but Bobby Kennedy, okay, Bobby Kennedy did not work alone. Okay, and MAHA was actually something that existed in America already, a kind of subculture, one that I didn't even know very much about, that I discovered on American Thought Leaders, throughout COVID. All these people that had been, hit by reality in some way. Maybe they had a child that had been vaccine injured. Maybe they were poisoned by something. And millions of Americans basically were not, many of us were just simply not aware that there was this growing movement of people that were looking at root causes of health. And Bobby was kind of a central figure in this. So him coming in as the HHS secretary, I mean, this is in terms of budget, the largest of the departments.
Yes,
right?
Well, except for defense. But China went through a MAHA movement itself at one point in time. Isn't that right? And what happened?
100%. And so this is what dawned on us as we were preparing for this session. Back in the 90s in China, there was the health system had actually collapsed, a little bit like what's been happening here. Okay, and these traditional methods of called Qigong, or kind of a Chinese yoga, became incredibly popular in China. The most popular was Falun Gong, and some of you will know that the founders of Epoch Times were Falun Gong practitioners. 70 to 100 million people were getting healthy. Okay, they were getting awards for getting healthy. And what did the regime do in 1999? They decided to crush this health and spiritual movement. So, I mean, this is something that totalitarians do. This is the other part that I realized. Totalitarians do not like healthy people, right? And it's a kind of a mindset. So, here we are.
So, China now is not only crushing its own health promotion movement, but they're promoting bad health in the United States. Talk to us about fentanyl.
Well, so, okay, how many of you noticed that we have a new FBI director? Kash Patel, of course. One of the things that Kash kept talking about as he was going through his nomination hearings, okay, he said 100,000 Americans a year are dying of CCP fentanyl, and that is going to be one of the priorities of the FBI, okay? So that is the Make America Unhealthy Again movement. But we also have to have our own kind of individual agency here. We can't let Kash have to deal with this entire problem, or our foreign policy establishment deal with the entirety of that.
So if we have enough time, we'll talk a little bit about things that can be done about fentanyl. I think it's one of the clear things that HHS can do together in partnership with the other agencies, and particularly the FBI and Kash, to help make America healthy again within measurable responses within 12 to 18 months. But let's talk for a moment about what is public health. We all hear about public health, okay? Today's public health is not about medicine. It's not about the physician-patient relationship. It's not about empowering patients to take control of their own health, which is what we need to do in the day of Maha. What we don't need is top-down management of what you are able to do, what your doctor tells you to do based on the government's mandates and your insurance company's profit. Okay, we have to get back to decentralized health under the control of you, the patient. But what do we have right now in public health? Public health is basically grounded in utilitarianism. It is functionally socialism. It is the logic of the greatest good for the greatest number. That is absolutely the centerpiece of modern public health, and it's based on big data. It's based on big data analysis of what on average is best for you, and then a top-down approach to cause you to comply with what the numbers say under close analysis is best for you. And as a consequence, public health has destroyed the practice of medicine. This is why your docs have no options. They have to treat you based on protocol because that's what public health is saying they have to do. Public health has taken over medicine. And as I say, it is focused on outcomes, optimizing outcomes, the best outcomes for all of us. What it needs to do is focus on opportunity. What we need to do is enable you to have the opportunity to choose whether or not to optimize your own health and have the information to do it. But what we don't need is public health telling us that we can't eat McDonald's hamburgers and drink Coca-Cola. What we need is the information so that you can make an informed decision about what you eat and what you do to manage your health, not to tell you and micromanage you about what your choices have to be.
And the bottom line of this, and think about this, okay? Inalienable individual rights. One of the core things America is based on, a core element of freedom. This approach, this CCP, Chinese Communist Party approach, what happened during COVID? They locked down. They used the totalitarian method. They used the collective rights method. What's apparently going to be better for the greater good. But what happens when you use that collective rights approach? Every time, to paraphrase Stalin here, okay, to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs. And it turns out to be a lot of eggs, unfortunately. So we got to get back to this approach of individual rights, individual agency, and, the Hippocratic Oath on the medical side.
So there's an insidious thing that's happened. They've snuck some stuff in while Bobby was busy focused on confirmation. They've snuck in a UN Agenda 2030 item called One Health. Okay? The CDC surreptitiously agreed to the One Health policies of the World Economic Forum and the United Nations and the World Health Organization. What is One Health? Who's against One Health? Of course, we all think that animals should be healthy and the environment should be healthy, just like the Secretary was talking about with U.S. policy. But in One Health, your health is equivalent to the health of animals. Your health is equivalent to the health of a lab rat. And I had somebody post the other day, we put out an essay today about One Health and what it really means, and they said, hey, I'll be glad to sacrifice a lab rat if I can have a focus on my grandmother and improving her standard of living. In One Health, the health of animals and the health of the environment are considered equivalent to the health of humans, and this has now been slipped in this policy that's right up there with the Green New Deal while the new administration was distracted. Something that was in progress for 2-3 years under the Biden administration, they managed to sneak in. They managed to sneak in the new director of pandemic preparedness, a veterinarian who is the associate dean of One Health at Texas A&M, before Bobby even had a chance to sit in the chair. And this is what Bobby really needs your help with. This is what Maha needs your help with, is he is going to be up against an entrenched bureaucracy that is going to fight him tooth and nail every step of the way. And the only way that we're going to be able to get sustainable change is we have to have all of us, the citizens of the United States, saying, we support you, we support a focus on health in Americans, and we are not okay with this globalist agenda of One Health, and we are not okay with the bureaucracy sneaking stuff in behind his back. Now, we only have a little bit of time left, but let's talk a little bit about bird flu.
Well, so how many have noticed egg prices have gone through the roof? How many? Okay, front page of the Epoch Times, okay, the national edition, you should check it out. It's unbelievable, right? But what is the reason? You might think, looking at mainstream media headlines, that it's because bird flu has killed 55 million birds. No, people have killed 55 million birds in an attempt to stop the bird flu, but that's not necessarily the only way to do it.
So bird flu has been around for years. I think this is our 4th episode of fear, of promoted fear about bird flu. And it never materializes. It never transfers into humans so far. Let's hope that continues to be the case. But now, even according to the CDC, bird flu is not a major risk for humans. It doesn't transmit from human to human. It's not putting people in the hospital, and they're not dying at any kind of a rate. Bird flu needs to be controlled, but the policies of the USDA, which now have cost you $1.2 billion, and that's direct costs for the USDA to compensate farmers that have had to kill their flocks, and it's not working. That is the old school way to control outbreaks. But bird flu is in all the birds. It's in migratory waterfowl. We cannot eradicate bird flu. So we got to think of something different instead of this, give a 3-year-old a hammer and everything becomes a nail. That is what USDA bureaucrats keep applying. I argue that instead of vaccinating chickens with a zoetis mismatched leaky bird flu vaccine, heard anything like that before? Say COVID, okay, which will drive the evolution of more vaccine-resistant bird flu strains. We need to rethink this whole strategy. And what I advocate, and I can tell you, I hear rumor that this is being actively considered in the administration right now, and we may hear some announcements about this, is there's going to be a rethinking of how we approach this. And personally, I like the idea that we let loose the chicken industry to breed flu-resistant chickens and turkeys and ducks, rather than trying to jab them all with crummy vaccines or kill them all because they get infected. That's just one example of what can happen if Maha is unchained.
Well, and everyone, I think we've run out of time here. The bottom line is, let's focus on root causes of health. Keep that in your mind. This is what Maha is all about, and let's make America healthy again. Thank you, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the CPAC straw poll. Please welcome CPAC Chairman Matt Schlapp, and from McLaughlin and Associates, Jim McLaughlin.
Just wait and follow. They gave the chair. Huh? That chair.
All right, Jim, this is your big moment. By the way, do you all know one of the great things? Can we just start off by saying a warm round of applause to the fantastic competence of the Trump for President campaign.
Yeah, without a
Susie
doubt.
Wiles, Chris LaCivita, Michael Whatley at the RNC. What a difference a campaign can make. And Jim and John McLaughlin on the polling. Thank you, Jim, for your great work.
And you know what? We've been with President Trump from the very beginning. Believe it or not, he talked about running back in 2011. And I can tell you, this campaign was head and shoulders above, better than anything we ever did in the past. And I can't tell you that Matt is exactly right. Susie Wiles, Chris LaCivita, Chairman Whatley, and I don't think I've ever complimented an RNC chairman. It was just unbelievable. But most of all, the guy we need to thank the most is Donald J. Trump.
Amen. Amen. And when you have, as we said on this stage, when you have competence at the campaign and at the National Committee, it makes it easier for the outside groups like CPAC to figure out their lanes, and I think we were able to do that effectively as well. So thank you all for your great support. We saved our country.
And I will tell you this, you know how I knew Donald Trump was going to win? The people in this room. Because when we did the CPAC polls over the years, and you had the mainstream media saying, you know, Donald Trump couldn't win again, Donald Trump was winning overwhelmingly, not by a little bit, overwhelmingly in every single CPAC poll. You guys knew. You guys knew he was going to win the primary. You all knew that he was going to win the general election no matter what the Democrats threw at us. So with that said, let me say first, thank you. We really appreciate you taking the poll. This is the grassroots. And I always say CPAC, the folks that attend CPAC, you all are the base of the base. And just so everybody knows, we had over 1,000 people take the CPAC straw poll this year. I thank you for that, and that's great. Don't forget, by the way, when you come back next year, take it as soon as you get here, and it works out really, really well. So with that being said, we asked a couple questions. One of them was, what would you say, and I'm hearing this from voters, we do focus groups, we do polls every single day. We said the first few weeks of Donald Trump's presidency have been the best for the modern conservative movement in my lifetime. What do you think about that? Well, 99% agreed with that. Think about that. We don't see 99% numbers. We weren't sure what this number was going to come out at. It's almost like I get these numbers back and I'm saying, is this right? But 99% say this is the best in their modern conservative history. Then we said, now that the Republicans have a majority control in both the House and the Senate, how important is it to you that they rapidly pass Donald Trump's agenda? Is that important to you? 99%. Again,
who's this one guy who keeps voting wrong? If you guys find him, let me know. I want to have a beer with him afterwards and talk to him.
You guys know you took the poll. We got a lot of ballot security. We got to, we got to have the code, the whole 9 yards. I don't know. Maybe somebody from the press is sneaking in.
I think the problem is you're not using a strong enough adjective to say how good it all is. I think they want it to be even stronger. So you have to work on your diction there.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Then we asked, how do you feel about President Trump's cabinet? How do you feel about it? Remember, by the way, remember how the left-stream media, or I call it sometimes the USAID media, was telling us he was going to have trouble getting these folks through? Well, this is how you feel about his cabinet. 98% of you say you're either enthusiastic or you're satisfied with it. 89%, nearly 9 out of 10, said you're enthusiastic about his cabinet. Are you enthusiastic about them?
You know, I kind of feel like CPAC's been the first Trump cabinet meeting. You know, they were all here basically, so it's been pretty cool. These guys got an inside sight to it.
Oh, and then some. And by the way, I think virtually every member of his cabinet has spoken at CPAC in the past, not just this year.
Yeah, even the ones that are new to the coalition.
All right. Now, remember when Donald Trump is talking about and still talking about setting up a national security and an economic alliance with Greenland? And again, you know how the crazy Democrats, they say, oh, that doesn't make any sense. 93% of you approve of that because it just makes sense for economic reasons, for national security reasons. And by the way, we do a little bit of work over in Europe and whatnot. They also think it's a very good idea. Donald Trump, again, being a visionary. Then we asked you about DOGE. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about DOGE and who should be making the decisions in how we cut wasteful government spending.
Can I just let you know,
Sure.
How many of you guys like that chainsaw? I call it the chromed out badass chainsaw. I just want you to know this great President Malays told me that he's sending CPAC a chainsaw too, so it's coming our way as well. I probably would be a little more judicious in how I wield it, but I hope Elon wields it very aggressively.
Oh, I'm sure he will. I'm sure he's going to. And I don't know if anybody saw the tweet recently, where I guess it was the truth, where President Trump said he wants DOGE to move even faster.
That doesn't surprise me.
Think about everything, and that's how he leads. That's how President Trump is doing history, doing things we've never seen done before. And when we asked you, who do we want in charge of DOGE, either Congress or President Trump, what did you tell us? Trump, 89%, 89-5, because you trust him to make the right decisions.
Let me jump in on this a little bit, which is you have folks saying, okay, what does the Constitution say? What does the law say on all this spending? I just want to preface this by saying every time you heard a member of Congress and lots of Republican members of Congress tell you that spending fights are political losers, that shutting down the government is a political loser, that we have to go along with the Democrats on all this spending, we have to sign an omnibus, a minibus, a short bus, a big bus, whatever this spending thing was, that had all of this crap for USAID and everything in it. And your message in this poll is, Congress, you have a job with budget and oversight, do your job. And if you're not going to do your job, Trump should do the job.
Yep. And by the way, we're going to get to that one too. And with that said, okay, one time when I came to one of the CPACs, President Trump gave me a hard time because he only had a 95% job approval rating. And I said to him, I said, sir, nobody gets a 95% job approval rating. Trust me, Matt Schlapp, with Mercy and his 5 daughters, he doesn't have a 95% approval rating at his dinner table. So what kind of an approval rating does he have now? 99%. It's amazing. I've been working at a pollster now. I know you could never tell, but going on 4 decades now. I've been doing polling. We've never seen numbers like this. We've never seen anybody unite the conservative movement the way Donald Trump has done this. 95% say they strongly approve. It's literally amazing. And people say, you know, compare it to Reagan. And I said, it's way more popular than even Ronald Reagan was. And I never would have said this back in the day. Donald Trump has literally remade the conservative movement. He's remade the Republican Party. And it's because of his success. A lot of people say it's because of his personality. It's because he's been successful and he's doing exactly what you folks want him to do. So going back to Matt's point, do you think President Trump has been doing a better job, a worse job, or about the same as last time? And most of you folks thought he did a really good job last time. What do we have? 99% telling us he's doing a better job. And again, I was afraid people wouldn't say because they thought he did a good job last time. You got 99% again. And last but not least, we actually asked, because you guys are the conservative movement. You guys are the thought leaders, the opinion leaders. We asked folks who they thought would be the Republican nominee, who they preferred for the Republican for president in 2028. And who is it? Poll's right. J.D. Vance. And why? Because he's viewed as the closest thing to Donald Trump. So, and that's exactly why. So I just want to say thank you. We couldn't have won the electoral victory, the decisive electoral victory we had for President Trump, the House and the Senate. It all started with people like you in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, for your excellent work. He's a great board member. Give it up for Jim McLaughlin. And in absentia, your brother John, too, who we also love. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to have a big guest coming up here very soon. The room is packed. I'm expecting to look at X any moment, and a member of the media or of that weird Never Trump group that's meeting across town, they're going to show a picture of an empty room. But we all know the truth, which is I don't think we've ever had a CPAC quite this full, quite this level of excitement. You know why? Because we know we're on a 4-year journey to put America back on track. Let's get it done.
God bless you. Thank you.
Spicer.
It's our America. We conquered it. We built it. Great values like honesty and fairness. Great courage. A great nation needs a free press. Newsmax is it. 30 million Americans regularly go to Newsmax when they really need to know. They watch Newsmax TV at home. On the free Newsmax app, they go to Newsmax.com. Start today. Newsmax is real news for real people.
Wherever human freedom is under attack, in courtrooms, legislatures, and the public square, we stand ready to defend it. This is why Alliance Defending Freedom exists.
Supreme Court victory for a Christian woman who was taken to court for standing firm in her beliefs.
The First Amendment follows a golden rule. If we want to protect speech for ourselves, then we need to protect it for others.
A video released this week by ADF International has attracted over 34 million views and even attracted comment from Elon Musk. It concerned a pair of Swiss parents who have had their child taken away from them because they objected to her gender transition.
We're not just here to stop the erosion of liberty for this moment alone. We are here to keep the door open for the gospel. And when the gospel does its work, truth doesn't just hold its ground. It advances. It sets people free for generations to come. This is our mission at Alliance Defending Freedom.
Dr. Stanley Goldfarb, a former associate dean at UPenn's medical school and chairman of the Do No Harm group, supports a new bill unveiled today by a group of House Republicans.
PI is dangerous everywhere, but it's most dangerous in medical school.
I was fast-tracked onto puberty blockers and then testosterone. I had a double mastectomy at 15. We need to stop telling 12-year-olds that they were born wrong.
Every institution today is under attack. The home, the church, the government. And many people are asking, what is the truth? Jesus Christ claimed to be ultimate truth. Are you willing to face the truth?
Do you think the MK Ultra project ever actually ended?
The Central Intelligence Agency is actively involved in mind manipulation.
We all answer to one God and one Savior, and He's there to change your life for the better.
Creators, it's time to take control. With Bursts, you create impactful content in seconds. Powered by blockchain, your content and earnings are protected, transparent, and yours to control. Play TV isn't just a platform. It's a community of creators building a new future together. Your freedom starts when you press play.
We thank you for attending CPAC this year. America is back, and you're part of this incredible movement. We appreciate you all. You all are part of our CPAC family. God bless you. Newsmax has been
terrific. President Trump is right. Millions are switching to Newsmax. It's the fastest growing streaming service in America. You don't need those woke streaming services anymore. Just get Newsmax Plus. Watch the best shows like Greg Kelly, Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, and Rob Finnerty. Greg Kelly over at Newsmax. The Newsmax people have been really terrific. Gain access to exclusive documentaries, series, and special briefings. It's free to start. So go to NewsmaxPlus.com now to sign up and watch Newsmax anytime, anywhere.
Welcome to CPAC. At Great American Media, we celebrate what matters most: faith, family, and country. Today, we invite you to experience storytelling that uplifts, inspires, and reflects the values we all cherish. PureFlix is your home for entertainment without compromise. With faith-driven movies and series, we bring you stories that strengthen hearts, uplift spirits, and honor what truly matters. And on Great American Family, where faith leads, where stories inspire. Welcome home. Whether it's Christmas all year long, heartfelt romances, or movies that bring families together, we are here to make you feel at home. At Great American Media, our foundation is quality. Our promise is to always deliver entertainment that aligns with your faith and values. Thank you for standing with us as we stand for faith, family, and country. Enjoy CPAC. And remember, when you choose Great American Media, you choose entertainment that lifts you up. Join us and experience the best in faith and family entertainment.
In 2025, we find ourselves in a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage on all three of the major networks, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Every institution today is under attack. The home, the church, the government. And many people are asking, what is the truth? Jesus Christ claimed to be ultimate truth. Are you willing to face the truth?
Do you think the MKUltra project ever actually ended?
The Central Intelligence Agency is actively involved in mind manipulation.
We all answer to one God and one Savior, and He's there to change your life for the better.
Who's AARP really watching out for these days? They've made billions partnering with big health insurance corporations while opposing reforms seniors want, like applying big discounts to medicines directly at the pharmacy counter. Instead, AARP supports liberal price-setting schemes, giving politicians, not seniors, control over any so-called Medicare savings. With no guarantees, funds won't be spent on unrelated programs or pad big insurers' profits. If AARP and Congress believe America's seniors aren't watching, think again. Paid for by American Commitment.
The 47th President of the United States of America.
And, you know, I wouldn't say Fox has been exactly perfect. Fox has been a big difference of Fox between now and what it was 4 years ago, as you know. But we have others that come along, and they're doing well, and Newsmax has been really good, and, you know, others are coming along. And people are seeing that they're watching these conservative networks.
President Trump is right. That's why millions of Americans are tuning into Newsmax for the real news they can trust.
Every institution today is under attack. The home, the church, the government. And many people are asking, what is the truth? Jesus Christ claimed to be ultimate truth. Are you willing to face the truth?
Do you think the MKUltra project ever actually ended?
The Central Intelligence Agency is actively involved in mind manipulation.
We all answer to one God and one Savior, and He's there to change your life for the better.
You came to Washington for one of two reasons. Some of you came here for position, for power and fame. You came for you. But a few came to change this town, We came to be sandpaper to a culture that despises truth. Are you one of the few willing to stand in the gap for our nation? If so, come join us as we make America's national motto our personal declaration.
Creators, it's time to take control. With Bursts, you create impactful content in seconds. Powered by blockchain, your content and earnings are protected, transparent, and yours to control. Play TV isn't just a platform. It's a community of creators building a new future together. Your freedom starts when you press play.
Every institution today is under attack. The home, the church, the government. And many people are asking, what is the truth? Jesus Christ claimed to be ultimate truth. Are you willing to face the truth?
Do you think the MK Ultra project ever actually ended?
The Central Intelligence Agency is actively involved in mind manipulation.
We all answer to one God and one Savior, and He's there to change your life for the better.
The 47th President of the United States of America.
And, you know, I wouldn't say Fox has been exactly perfect. Fox has been a big difference of Fox between now and what it was 4 years ago, as you know. But we have others that come along, and they're doing well, and Newsmax has been really good, and, you know, others are coming along. And people are seeing that they're watching these conservative networks.
President Trump is right. That's why millions of Americans are tuning into Newsmax for the real news they can trust.
Jurassic Park, the remake of Godzilla, and the beginning of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Are either of you homosexuals?
You mean like flaming, or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
Let's hope and pray no one will ever confess those sins again. The Mike Church Show, preaching and teaching from his abbey while living here in the present on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
How you doing? The fastest 3 hours in all of broadcast radio and TV. The Mike Church Show is on CRUSADE Radio Network. This portion of the program brought to you by the founder to shop with us on Washington's birthday weekend extravaganza sale at shop.mikechurch.com. And again, free shipping, $50 or more order will pay for the shipping. Shop.mikechurch.com. Lots of great Catholic books in stock that are on sale for $5 this weekend too. So go check it out. Shop www.mikechurch.com. All right. Who is that guy? I don't know. Maybe you didn't hear. But you're not getting any federal money. None. I won't give it to you. By the by, the feud. Whoa! Ladies and gentlemen, I need a hateful Hockle, Satan's Apostle theme song. Now hateful Kate is thumbing her nose and giving the middle finger to the state of Louisiana. Hateful Kate is telling Governor Landry and Attorney General Liz Morrill, I'm not sending the doctor to stand trial in your stupid hick hayseed backwards state. We are proud New Yorkers. We have laws here, ma'am, and we're going to enforce them, and we're not obeying yours.
Last week, I received a letter from Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry asking me to extradite a New York doctor who provided legal, life-saving, FDA-approved abortion medication to a patient. This doctor,
Stop
who now
the
faces
tape.
a felony.
Note that she had to go legal, FDA approved. In other words, let's make mifepristone like Bayer aspirin. Everyone takes mifepristone. The FDA approved it. It's the greatest stuff that ever happened here. It's not legal in Louisiana, Kate. Let me repeat. It's not legal in Louisiana. Your doctor prescribed it to a citizen of Louisiana, and she's going to pay. Roll the tape, please.
Felony charge with simply doing her job, following
Her
both
job
her
is to
medical
kill
oaths
babies?
and New York state law. Prescribing safe abortion medication is legal under the laws of our state.
Stop the tape! Safe? It put a 14-year-old girl in a hospital for 2 days. That's safe? These people are mad. This is complete and total insanity here. A 14-year-old child, a teenager, was hospitalized because your doctor actually filled the prescription and shipped it to the child whose mother made her take it. Now, I think the mother's as much at fault here as well, but the mother can't get it without the New York doctor. It's not safe. The child was that's how Governor Landry found out about it. He wasn't running around with the abortion police looking to arrest someone. The child was admitted to the hospital. The doctor, thank God, was an honest person and asked, okay, what's going on here so I can make a proper diagnosis? And then the mother had to confess, I made her take mifepristone. Well, where'd you get mifepristone? It's illegal in this state. I did a medevac, a telemed thing with a doctor in New York, which is still illegal. That doctor does not have admitting privileges here in the state of Louisiana and also does not have telemed privileges in the state of Louisiana. We have laws, Kate, and we're going to enforce them.
No one is above the law, man.
Hey, aren't you a Democrat, Kate? Hateful Hockle, Satan's apostle? I thought Democrats lived by the creed that no one was above the law. That's what you said about President Trump. But apparently your doctor is above the law. Roll the rest of the defiance here.
Reproductive health laws, which began enacting even before the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and which I've since fortified by signing our shield laws, explicitly prohibit me or any future governor from honoring this request. New York is where the women's movement was born.
Oh, good.
New York is
Here
where
we
abortion
go.
was legalized years before Roe v. Wade. New York is where Lady Liberty stands tall as a beacon of hope.
So
for those
Lady
seeking
Liberty
freedom.
kills babies. Got it.
And just as doctors swear to do no harm, I took an oath under God to protect New Yorkers.
Okay, stop this. This woman is absolute. She is literally, folks, she is the epitome of bat crazy. That is guana crazy. This woman's a Catholic, too. Whither the Bishop of Albany? Where's the Bishop of Albany? A child in Louisiana is almost dead, was hospitalized for 2 days. Her baby is most certainly dead. And you're talking about doing no harm and safe and effective drugs? What crack pipe is this wench smoking from? I'm telling you, they literally, this is all they have left. They literally want to ignite a new civil war. And again, this time again, it is a war of northern aggression. You are not sending your doctors into our beloved Louisiana state to murder our soon-to-be-born citizens, Kate. You're not doing it, Gavin. You're not doing it, Pritzker. You're not doing it, Waltz, or any other, Mal Murphy, or any of the rest of them. We have laws, and we're going to enforce them. And you know what? That doctor better not ever leave New York, because I know Governor Landry. You know, he's a former cop, former attorney general, now governor. He also knows President Trump very well. You know what's going to happen, Kate? Your little doctor is going to stray outside of your little borders, and there's going to be a federal marshal waiting at the airport to slap handcuffs on that witch. And yeah, she's coming to Louisiana. You better tell her to never leave your state. That's if it comes to that. Can you believe this? All right, before we go to the telephones, you did such great work, Maggie. You must play digital media file number 5. We have to hear from J.D. Vance. So much great stuff that Vance said yesterday at CPAC. I can play the whole thing. I can listen to it all over again. So we just say we have a couple of highlight reels. Here's one of them.
I think the most important thing that we can do, and as you know, Mercedes, I'm very pro-life. I'm a devout Christian, is that we have got to persuade our fellow Americans.
JD, will you please say Catholic?
We've got the power. We've got the power.
I understand why you're doing it.
We've got to persuade our fellow citizens that unborn life is worthy of protecting. It is sacred in the eyes of God, and it should be sacred in the eyes of man, too. And we have to pick up the torch and fight for that every single day. And I know you guys are up for the task. I am, too. And I think on the administration side, what the president has said, and it's been consistent, it's going to be consistent in the rhetoric and in the policy, is we believe in the Trump administration that babies are good, that families are good, and we want to make it easier for young moms and young dads to choose life, to start and to bring new life into the world. That's the whole point of our policy. Now, some of that, of course, is supporting our great crisis pregnancy centers at the moment of these important health care decisions, encouraging young women to choose life at that important moment of choice. Some of that is bringing costs down so that, young moms and dads don't look to the future and a new baby and say, how can I afford this? And if they're able to actually afford to raise a family, maybe they'll start thinking of babies as the blessings that we all know that they are.
Yeah.
And I think...
Where did this guy come from?
I think fundamentally this is going to take a lot of leadership from the president on down, but from every single person in this room. We've got to persuade our fellow citizens to stop thinking about babies as inconveniences to be discarded. We've got to start thinking of them as blessings to cherish, and that's exactly what I promise to do.
Let me show the viewing audience what that is. I'm J.D. Vance. This is a microphone. Mic drop. Boom. This portion of the program brought to you by us. Okay, I said $1,000. Maggie hasn't given me any names. Okay, CrusadeChannel.com/donate. So we got a lot going on here today. Thank you for those that have donated. Appreciate it. Let's get to the 4 digits today. February crowdfunding. I haven't been pushing it that much. We had a great January with the promotion, so thank all of you very much. But every month we have to raise funds around here, and we do have a nonprofit. It's the Crusade Radio Guild. So if you go to crusadechannel.com/donate, you actually are donating to the nonprofit Crusade Radio Guild. So again, crusadechannel.com/donate, or tap the dollar symbol in the YouTube chat. I'd love to see one of you boobers do a super chat today. You do it. I see them all the time for Right Side Broadcasting. Man, that chat at Right Side Broadcasting, I don't know how anyone can even read it, but in any event, and they do great work, by the way. Thank you very much in advance. A couple of comments from the Crusader Stadium chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat, where I vow to make chat talk radio great again. Dwight. She would have been the perfect queen of Carthage. Speaking of hateful Hackle, Satan's apostle. Dwight, do you know the Latin for what the Romans said about Carthage? Isaconus, how's your Latin? Carthage delinda est. Remember that, Junk Bond? Let's get Junk Bond in on this conversation. Oh, wait a minute. He's not going to come on if I don't play his music. He'll... You guys are so fickle. I have to find it. Wait, hold on. I should just have a Junk Bond category. Here we go. All right, Bond. Bond. Junk Bond. Bond, how's your Latin?
Carthage must be destroyed.
Yeah, Carthage delinda est, right?
Absolutely.
That's what the Romans said. Carthage must be destroyed. So is New York Carthage now? You can't say that. You got family in New York.
I do. I do have inmates.
Inmates?
You remember that scene from my dinner with Andre, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they described the jail and the inmates so beautifully. That's exactly what it is. They built their own jail. They live in it. And, hey, you know what? Some of my relatives are excited about the prison they built.
Clark in the chat room says, this is why Trump fixing what he's fixing will never be enough. We can't continue to make common cause with these baby-killing demons. We have to leave this union. I think that the union actually, Clark, is kind of being reformed right in front of our very eyes. Again, who a year ago had hateful Hackle being in an extradition war with the governor of the most pro-life conservative state in the South, Greg. And I think that she doesn't understand who she's messing with. Governor Landry is going to that doctor is coming to Louisiana to stand trial. Now, are they going to send New York State troopers down here to break her out of jail? Because she's going to jail. Now, here's the question, Greg. When she makes bail or bond, that's if they let her make bail or bond, and she skips it and then retreats back to New York, wars have been started over less, brother.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I was going to ask you what happens after she gets arrested, and I think she's a flight risk.
She's absolutely a flight risk.
Put her out on bond.
Well, I think that I would think that the Governor Landry and Attorney and AG Morrell, I would think that they know that, right? And that they're going to get her in front of whatever judge. But do you agree with my assessment that if she ever leaves New York, Trump's federal marshals are going to arrest her?
They're going to scoop her up, put her right in the back seat with a nice cup of coffee, and drive her right on down to Louisiana.
And what a glorious day it'll be. Now, what do you make of what is happening? What do you make of the strategy that the neocons and the military-industrial complex that you have basically devoted your life to making people aware of and helping us all put our thoughts together to oppose these people. What do you make of what's happening with the negotiations? And we know now that Marco Rubio was actually, Rubio and who else was it, Maggie? They actually were in a room with Putin, and that Trump actually did make the phone call to Putin, and he said it was a very positive call. What do you make of what's happening now with the Europeans wanting to put 30,000 troops into Ukraine?
Miniature, please.
Miniature, please.
This all started a long time ago in a continent not that far away, when the wall came down. Actually, it started back after World War II, when we decided that we needed to have an arms race and not a peaceful engagement with communism to destroy communism. Thank you, Harry S. But we got to the point where the wall came down, and then we found ourselves, we don't have any more adversaries. Nobody to fight with, nobody to argue with. And amazingly, all of a sudden, we had terrorist groups that popped up. They were around, but there's some really cool ones that popped up. Al-Qaeda. They became like the focus of everything bad in the world. And now we have all kinds of terrorist groups out there. And the CIA hasn't shied away from the fact that they funded most of them.
That's right.
We're creating business for our military-industrial complex. And the same thing in the EU. Back in, I think it was, I don't remember what year it was. I think it was 2012, 14, somewhere in there. Obama went to Putin and he said, hey, we want to get into the Eastern European energy market. And Putin said, yeah, pound sand. You want to come in? You do it the old, you do it the capitalistic way. You offer better prices and see who goes for your stuff. And he told Obama, absolutely not. I'm not cutting you a deal. And lo and behold, it wasn't that long, and we ended up with such terrible wars. And Syria came apart. Aleppo was actually the refinery location for the oil coming from Iran to go to Eastern Europe into Ukrainistan.
Ukrainistan.
Now you connect all these components together. We're at war against Iran. We're making war in Syria. We leveled Aleppo. Our tax dollars had a huge part in leveling Aleppo, because you can't have that refinery. You can't have that switching station and push that oil up into Ukrainistan, and you have to destroy Ukrainistan. Look at the places in Ukrainistan that were destroyed, and you're going to see that that's where all of our money went into to defend, and there's reasons why we wanted to defend those locations, of course. But we're provoking it. And the second aspect of this is, after the wall came down, NATO didn't have a job. They were part of the lost man generation. They became homeless. They needed a job. So they didn't have a job. They didn't have anything to do. Well, gosh, we need a near peer adversary again. So why don't we just start poking the bear again? We can promise them that we won't allow nations into NATO that are up against, Russia. And then we can switch, the old bait and switch, and then we can provoke them, and then they're going to start a war. And this is a great idea. Now we have a place to focus all of our energies that's not in Europe proper. It'll be, Ukraine. It'll be somewhere outside of the safe places of people that are spending all the money. U.S., U.K., Netherlands put a lot of money in, France, Germany, Austria, but it's not in their countries. But their people, their military industrial folks, are certainly making money hand over fist.
Yeah, they and that's of course, and the money that they're making is They're not producing anything. The money that they're making was coming from USAID, foreign, what do they used to call it? Foreign aid. And, and of course, just straight up, the U.S. intelligence agencies and Defense Department. Again, you spending $1 trillion a year. You can't spend $1 trillion a year in this continent on a singular industry here. So of course they've been spreading around, and this is what they're. This is why I said this earlier here. This is obviously Keir Starmer and Macron. They have military elite. They have a military-industrial complex in France. They have one in the UK. They have one spread throughout all the other EU states.
On plants, they grow.
Well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
And, folks, it looks like CPAC is actually.
You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
So we're going to step
look,
aside.
you want to solve this problem? I want to get my pardon. So why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know? It's
the CRUSADE Radio Network.
They used to make Brondo. Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brondo's got electrolytes. We will obviously cover that here live on the CRUSADE Radio Network.